In this video trades, we're going to look at, is an early or late trade entry better? Stay tuned. Hey traders, a very warm welcome to you. Okay, so the age-old debate of should you wait for confirmation? Should you try and get in early? Let's have a look at those pluses and minuses to both. Maybe we can put them in terms of setups and see which is best. All right, so let's just explain what I actually mean by being late or being early. So early would be pre-breakout. So for example, let's use a head and shoulders as a kind of standard chart here, chart pattern. So we've got the shoulder, we've got the head, and the other shoulder comes in. And normally, well, it's an inverse head and shoulders technically. Normally, we're trading on a break of this line, right? That's the textbook stuff. We have the left shoulder, the right shoulder. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. This is inverse, but we know the score. If you're not familiar with head and shoulders, go and check out another video I've done before. Okay, so the textbook style with this is you wait until this neckline here. This is your neck. That's broken and you go long at that point there. So that will be waiting for confirmation. Now we could have a flag, could have other stuff, but let's just use this for now. If you were doing it early and you weren't waiting for confirmation, you might go in on the pullback here of the shoulder. You might go in on the drive here. You might even go in there thinking it's going to break and being able to sit. The point is you're not waiting for the actual break. In most cases, that's what we call confirmation. Or you're waiting for a cross of a moving average, or you're waiting for something specific. So let's look at the differences. So early would be pre-breakout. If we're waiting like this example here, you'd be buying it here, you saw the momentum early on, you dived in, you didn't wait for the actual level to break. Lowered the flag. So let's say we had a flag scenario here. This would be, let's say we've got a bull flag here. You're buying here rather than waiting for a break of that. That will be waiting for confirmation of the break. That would be the late break. That would be the early. Range break, so similar kind of thing. We're in a range, and instead of waiting for it to break through here, which would be the confirmation, we're buying it at the low end, assuming it's going to bounce back up and then break through there. A close would be, hey, we're waiting for the close of the candle as opposed to hitting it in the mid. So you want to see the actual candle close above multiple times or one time before taking it. And then the other way around, so late after will be, waiting for confirmation after breakout at the flag high, other end of the range mid. I think we get the idea. So the question is it better to do early or late? Now, I think it's very much dependent on the setup. There is no clear answer to this. In an example of a breakout, let's say we were looking at a breakout scenario, right? And we have a situation where, let's just go with the same thing again, okay? We've got head and shoulders here, a bit of rough head and shoulders, but you get the point. Here's the key level we're looking to break out. Now, if we're taking it after confirmation, a late entry here, that is often too late. Now, can it still work? Of course it can. Of course, this thing is perfect, can go up and it can rip to new highs. It's a great trade. But very often that can be too late. If you have the ability to read the price action of the tape and you see, let's say you see an explosion. Let's say this is on a daily chart, right? Daily chart, and on your 15-minute chart, your 5-minute chart, this is maybe intraday. Okay, it's one day there. You see an explosion off the open. We open here. It drives up aggressively, pulls back, and you can get a good entry here, risking, say, 25 pips on intraday level, but seeing this head and shoulders on a bigger time frame, a daily, and then sitting through it and assuming that momentum will break through, why not take it? You've got the ability to take it early. You've seen some intraday momentum. There's no need to wait for it to close and break above at midday or something and then have to sit through some chop. In that case, you take an early entry. I think it's a good, sensible thing to take an early entry. Some people may disagree. Some say, well, it's a technical pattern. You've got to wait for the technical pattern to close. Yes, it depends on the scenario. In that scenario, if you saw a reason to take it, and you thought, hey, that could help give it some tailwind and break through to break a larger pattern, to break a larger resistance level, to break a larger support level, break through a flag, whatever it may be, you're looking at intraday, then take it because you're getting a double bonus for it. However, let's look at something else where perhaps an early entry might not be so good. Let's say you have, let's say you've got a flag scenario as well here. Right? Now, very often we'll choose to either take it at the lower the flag or the higher the flag. Now, sometimes you're going to look at this and you're going to say, hey, listen, you know, I need to wait for it to really go again. The flag's very, very tight. If it's a very, very tight flag, there's not much gap between the top of it and the bottom of the flag. You might say, well, actually, you know what? I need to see the momentum go and push through before I take it. Because it's so narrow, we may well pull back much further, and that will still be valid. So the point is, you're not taking it at the low of the flag because you think, hey, if it does keep going lower, I want to look for a separate trade, a deeper pullback trade to a moving average. If it doesn't and it explodes higher quickly, then I'll take the high. So in that instance, you're going to wait for a late entry. You're going to wait until you see the momentum turn, you see it break, then you take the trigger, purely because an early entry makes no sense, because the early entry might well be way too early. Because it's too early and you've got to wait for it to come all the way back down here to a deeper pullback type trade rather than a high tight flag type trade. So there's that example. Another example would be, okay, waiting for a close above or below. So, and also an early entry here. Let's have a look at a mean reversion. Those are kind of continuation trades. Let's have a look at mean reversion. So we have the market's pushed down. It's kind of testing this low here. You know, it's messing around at the lows here, and you think for whatever reason it's a mean reversion trade. You want to buy at the lows and push to high. Now, let's say it pushes through. Okay, let's say that's our support level here. Bear with me on that on the drawing, but you get the idea. We push through the support level now, and an early trade would be to take it here. You'd be like, okay, I'm going to take it here because I think we're going to go higher. Again, we're looking at the situation from, hey, that might be way too early, because how do you know how far that's going to go? That could go down another 100. It could fail, completely fail and go through the floor. It could go down another, 3 times that length before it pushes back up. In this case, there's a reason to wait for the late confirmation. Most of the time, waiting isn't the best thing to do, but sometimes, I think in this example, like in the other tight flag example, you want to wait to see that there is actually some buyer there. You need to see that you're not just stepping in front of the train. So this might be, let's wait until we come back up, close above there, print that close, rather than taking it mid-candle, which might be down here, so you can see evidence that actually somebody is buying it. So you don't want to be the first of the party, you want to be the third or fourth of the party. You don't want to be the last of the party, but you want to be early, but you want someone else to go through that door first. Okay, so that's when you take the trade. And then the importance of this is that you can quantify your risk by having your stop below where those first few people stepped in. So it gives you a reason to wait a little bit later. Now, when we say late, we're not saying, oh, let's buy up here. I would never do that on under any trade. I don't want to have to wait until every single moving average curls up and this and that and the other, and we've closed above the 50%. To me, that's way too late. For my style of trading, it's way too late in the deal. Okay, this is early on the deal compared to that, but I still want to wait just a tiny bit just to get that. So I get the frame of the trade of the risk. I get the little bit of confirmation that there are some buyers there, reduces the risk enough. It's worth me paying that premium to reduce the risk, to quantify the risk, to give me the risk reward ratio on the trade still, as opposed to having a stab at lows, getting stopped out, or waiting all the way through until, hey, this is definitely reversed now. Let's go, and having to sit all the way through another pullback before it goes on again. So, answer the question, is an early or late trade entry better? Very much dependent on the setup and strategy. You need to look at your strategy and setup and see exactly what a late entry would do for you, what an early entry would do for you. Get a piece of paper out, see exactly where you need to be, and then adjust the strategy to suit and say, hey, you know what, I cannot jump the gun on this, I need to see this. Or, you know what, if I do see something, perhaps on a lower time frame, or perhaps this, perhaps that ticks the boxes still with the thesis of the play, then I can pull the trigger. All right, guys, thumbs up if you like this kind of stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. Take care, keep the risk managed. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.